Did your brain replay conversation for hours? If that's so, this video is for you. Not to just revisit them, but replaying and revisiting them on a loop. That same exchange, the same moment, the same thing that you said over and over, or something that you could have said before. Your mind is just like an editor with a scene that it just cannot get right. Maybe it was something small or something that you said in a meeting, a sentence that you read differently, and you wish that you said something else than you meant it. A moment in a conversation where you said something completely wrong, where you said the wrong thing and you felt it land wrong in real time. And now, hours later, you're still there, still running the same scene in your head, still editing the responses. I should have said this, I should have said that, renewing your lines, and imagining that it could have gone differently. Maybe it was something bigger, or a confrontation, or a misunderstanding of a dynamic that replays so consistently you could almost quote it. Either way, the conversation is over and you are the only one still in the room. If this sounds familiar, stay with me, because I want to explain today what the brain is actually doing when this happens. And it's not because you're overly sensitive or insecure or can't let things go. It's because there's a loop that is running underneath, a subconscious belief that is replaying. And once you understand why the loop is replaying, it starts to make a lot of sense. My name is Pui and I'm a holistic kinesiologist. And before we go into the subject of today, I would like to share with you my 8 weeks program called Rescript. This is designed for high-functioning, anxious individuals who have been living with a very high nervous system dysregulation. This is starting on the 24th of July. If this sounds like something that you are interested on working with the underneath of layers of the subconscious mind, and it's something that you would like to explore, check out the link in the description box to book a discovery call. Spots are limited and there's a founding member rate that is available. So let's start what is happening neurologically in the brain when this happens, when your brain goes into replay mode. There are 2 things that are actually working here: your amygdala center, your threat center detection. We spoke about this in the previous videos. So when a social interaction triggers a perceived threat, and you've had this for many years where your nervous system is running on a program, it starts to sense that something is wrong. Even the little things, that you were judged or you said something wrong, and now that person is thinking less of you. All these are registered as threats. So your amygdala fires up. The stress hormones are released and your body goes into a low-grade activated state. But here's the specific threat thing about social threat. Unlike physical threat, which is a clear resolution, the danger passes. Your body settles and the social threat is ambiguous. You don't know what the other person actually thinks. You don't know if there's actually real damage. There is no definitive ending. And your nervous system is designed to keep you safe by resolving a threat. And it does the only thing it knows what to do with an unresolved situation. So it keeps running the scenario over and over by looking for resolution that it would let it settle. So the replay isn't a revolution. The second thing that is happening here with your default network, the part of your brain that activates in rest state and loops back to self-referential content. What does this person think of me? What does that say about me? Was I too much? Was I not enough? And did I handle that right? The default mode network in people's nervous system carries a threat around social belonging, and it is extremely active. And it pulls you towards the same material again and again. Not because you are weak, but because it has a standing instruction to monitor that for anything that might affect how safe you are in your social world. Together, the amygdala trying to resolve the threat and the default mode network monitoring your social safety, it creates a loop that replays. And then we'll keep running until the underneath layers of subconscious gets addressed. Not in the conversation, but the thing that is underneath the conversation. Okay, so what's the thing that is underneath the conversation? So almost always, a lot of clients that I work with, it's not the conversation that is causing the pattern to run on its own loop. It's actually what what is underneath the subconscious that had happened maybe many years ago or when you were growing up. It could be, I'm not good enough, I'm not valued, what if this person is judging me? It is being true to yourself. And it could be running from family members, it could be running from school, it could be running from your upbringing. And it could be also like, what if I say the wrong thing? So it's the belief system that is in the subconscious mind. And I need to get something right or something will go wrong. These beliefs were not formed in that conversation that you're replaying constantly over and over. They were formed in a much earlier moment in your life, especially where things have socially gone wrong and had real consequences, where you need to read the room perfectly or manage someone's feelings carefully or say the right things to keep the peace or disappear to avoid the impact of taking too much space. So this is where your nervous system has learned social missteps are dangerous. And it's been running on that program ever since, scanning every interaction for evidence, whether you're still okay, whether you are still liked, whether you are still safe. This is what is happening in social media. Always constantly checking what is happening to your likes, your comments. So your amygdala is actually overstimulating itself. This is why no amount of logical reassurance fully settles the replay. You can tell yourself it wasn't a big deal, or they probably forgot about it. You can even blame the algorithm and that you're overthinking about the algorithm. And that loop continues, not just because it's a fault, it's a subconscious pattern that is running in the background of your body and below the level of that conscious reasoning. This is exactly what the work I do in Break the Loop sessions. Not the conversation, but the belief that is actually underneath the conscious. We are not working on a surface level. We're working for underneath what is underneath that. And there's no point of reasoning with this. What does my nervous system believe that has to be true to me, will make me safe in this situation? Once we identify that belief, it starts to clear. Now, the human mind likes to reason. We like to know what is conscious. So in my work, we look at the subconscious, what is driving that conscious. And once we know what is driving subconsciously, the body starts to relax. It starts to take a big breath and it understands why you're feeling in a certain way. And without that belief, that few of overthinking start to leave. And always, this is educational content. It's not medical advice. So if you experience significant distress, please consult your doctor. And if you are pregnant, check with your doctor before you press any of these acupressure points. The point I want to give today is called governing vessel 24, more commonly known as the third eye or yin tang. You will find that we use this for insomnia in the previous video, but today I want to specifically use it for the racing and the mind looping rather than the sleep. To find governing 24, you're going to find it between your brows. So you're going to place your finger here. So you're not above, not underneath the bridge, just here between the brows. And you can give it a nice rub, not too much, not too less. And you can just close your eyes, take a couple of deep breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. And while you're holding this, I want you to think of what is actually underneath the thought, not what's on the surface level, and not the content of the conversation. I want you to feel the feeling. So go ahead and pause this video and see how that feels for you. Otherwise, if you want to keep going with the video, I'm going to explain a little bit more deeper about this point. What this point does, it calms the hyperactivity of the default mode network, that looping. The overthinking is self-referring to the thoughts that you keep talking, the pattern to yourself. It's particularly affected for that kind of mental self-talk that circles around in social situation and self-perception. And the instruction to locate the feeling rather than stop the thought that is important, because your nervous system will start to settle faster when it's being heard, when your body really embodies that emotion, that feeling, than when it's feeling suppressed. So with this point, you're not trying to resolve the communication with the other person. You are communicating with that part of what you need reassurance through touch, through presence, through your own hands on your own face. So if your brain starts to replay conversation and looping round in circles, I want you to know something. This is not a character flaw. That is a nervous system that had learned a long time ago that in social situation, that it learned somewhere along the line that social connection was something to monitor carefully. That getting it right mattered a great deal, or being too much or not enough, or saying the wrong thing had consequences that were worth staying alert for. And that being said, it's really exhausting. Carrying that level of social vigilance is generally exhausting because it never really switches off, because the loop is always replaying in your nervous system. The word that actually moves is not actually more self-awareness. Most people who experience this are very self-aware, but this is part of the pattern. It's working with the subconscious belief that is running the loop. It's identifying it, naming it, and clearing at a level where it lives in the body, the nervous system, below conscious thoughts. That is Break the Loop one-to-one online. We go into the belief that is underneath the conscious mind, underneath the replay, and we work with it directly. Not talking about the conversation, but actually going to the root. If this is something that you would like to work on and like to book a session, the link is in the description box. And if this pattern feels a little bit more bigger, the replay of many of the loops that runs in your inner world, Rescript is my 8 weeks program where we can go through an architecture of the pattern together. And the link is in the description box to book a discovery call. One common thing that people come out of Break the Loop is that I reacted differently to how I normally react. I'm much more calmer in this situation. And this is when the loop has lost its power. Thank you so much. This is the end of the video. I'll see you for the next video. Bye.